Hello and welcome. This is a spectacular edition. This is the German World War II military Luftwaffe issued watches. The Luftwaffe was a German Air Force in World War II. And all these watches are military issued, are issued to the Luftwaffe. So we've got a few, you can see they're grouped a little bit. These are all D-signed. They have a D on the back, like this. D and then serial number. This is classically known as Luftwaffe watches. Then we've also got these which have RLM on the back. RLM stands for Reichtsluftfartministerium, which means Air Ministry of the Reich, of the nation. Then we've got this one, which is a Flieger, which was originally designed by A. Lange and Söhne. These were the original bomber pilot watches in World War II. That's what they were. Very, very big dials, so it would, very big watch. So it would fit over their suit. I will demonstrate it real quick. It's 52 millimeters because it had to fit over the flight suit. And a very big onion crown because you need to be able to operate it with your flying gloves on. This one, there are several models of these. A. Lange and Söhne is the most notorious, and the Flieger model still gets made. Well, this model design still gets copied a lot nowadays, also in similar sizes, which to me just look absolutely comical, but the originals are really cool. Then we've got this one, the Lemania Majetek, also called the Turtagone, which means turtle in Italian. The Majetek is Majetek Wojenskie Sprawy, which is for the Czech Air Force. The Czech Air Force, of course, they're not German. However, the Germans overran them quickly in World War II. So it's likely the Czech Air Force watches were also used by the Germans once they were conquered and confiscated. Then this, lastly, is Jaeger-LeCoultre. They aren't signed at all, but it's known that Jaeger-LeCoultre, the German Luftwaffe placed an order with Jaeger-LeCoultre, and one of the requirements for the German Luftwaffe was to have the case and the movement serial number match, which these watches do, and no other Jaeger-LeCoultre watch ever made has matching serials except for this model, which unofficially they're known as the Jaeger-LeCoultre Luftwaffe, but Jaeger-LeCoultre up to this day still hasn't admitted to supplying watches to the Nazis because, well, it doesn't look that good. Because they do admit, of course, their involvement with the British, because, yeah, everyone wants to be on the side of the winner. But this one is also the same, but a pocket watch version. Has a very nice engraving on the back, which means, it says Hilf mit 1942/43, Der Kampf im Osten, Reichssiegerin Luftwaffe, which means help with the battle in the East in 1942-1943, which is from the prize shooter of the Luftwaffe. So basically this was awarded to, I assume pilot who had the most hits, that shot down the most planes or whatever, in the Battle of the East, which is in Russia. Leningrad, possibly. Well, I forgot. I wrote it down, but it's a while ago. Anyway, let's get into these watches in detail. So first up, we've already covered those. For the Majetek, you've got Lemania, Eterna, and Longines. The Eterna by far is the cheapest, the Longines the most expensive, the Lemania is in the middle. Most have the markings on the back, but towards the end of the war, they didn't have the markings anymore to be quicker. Well, not towards the end of the war, towards the end of production. Then these big things, this is a personal serial, and then on the side they always have FL23883, which is the model number, and this goes for, or the order number, something like that, goes for all of them. This is the second execution dial. The first execution didn't have the middle circle. Alrighty, let's get to these. These aren't all my watches because I've still got a bunch with my watchmakers as well. But these are all RLM signed. Well, usually it's in a circle. The RLM engraving often isn't that deep. So it's easily polished off, like this one as well. The good thing is if the caseback hasn't been polished, then you can easily read it. This one can't read it as is. This one is a bit, well, it's unpolished, so you can still read it clearly. These watches, they are all German made. They are, well, you can tell Stowa, you probably know the brand. But they are all bigger sizes. They're the same case design as the Kriegsmarine, of which there's also a German badge. With the bigger ones, the Wagner also made Kriegsmarine watches. So this one doesn't have the RLM signature, this one does. And yeah, it's just, well, the RLM, they're pretty rare and hard to find, especially hard to spot the signature because it's often polished out. Then for these are all D signed on the back, but the D sometimes got polished out because people also don't want to be associated with the war. But it's not that easy to polish out, so yeah, often it survives as well. Anyway, I placed them in alphabetical order. So on the left we've got Alpina. Alpina, I've got by far the most of these. And yeah, I really like the Alpina ones. They're smaller size, but the dials age really beautifully. This one, for example, aged into like beautiful chocolate spectacle. It's like a tropical chocolate sparkle and just really beautiful. But this one is one of my absolute favorites. It's a super rare, maybe unique white dial Alpina. It's not a Kriegsmarine, obviously, although Alpina also supplied the Kriegsmarine. Kriegsmarine. Alpina supplied them, but this one never had the KM signature. This was originally a white dial for the Luftwaffe. Yeah, the markings on the back, you can wipe it off. But this one was featured in Knirim's book, which is the markings. It's at page 438. You can find it. This one is just spectacular. It's, yeah, the only white dial Luftwaffe I found so far. So yeah, then next up we've got Dogma. This one is original, as you can see. This one has been re-chromed. A new crown, but yeah, all of them have a D and then the serial number. The re-chromed, you can tell by the case, well, it's very, very shiny, but also the edges are not that sharp. But this one is very easy to spot it's been re-chromed, because normally it's a much sharper edge, like this one. Up next we've got Doxa. For the Doxa, I've got this one is my absolute favorite because it's stainless steel. Stainless steel watches for wartime watches are very rare because, well, steel was mostly used for the war production, like tanks and submarines and all that stuff. So most watches are just base metal that have been chromed or nickel plated. So to find a stainless steel is, well, really a gem in the rough. Especially this one because it's really, really nice. This one also super nice dial. The case obviously has some signs of wear, but both are in excellent condition. This one also personal favorite. It's a Eterna, which is super rare. It's the only one I've ever seen, and just very, very rare bird. Eterna also made the Dirty Dozen watches for the British military, which has the exact same movement beating inside, a 520H, just like this one. Also has the proper markings and nice size as well, I believe 35 millimeters. So yeah, really sweet. Next up, we've got the, it's already said it there. We've got Ideal, which is an unknown brand. Well, you can still find some info about it, but unknown. Case has been re-chromed, but yeah, it's rare, so I keep it. This one, Leonidas, you will know because, well, Leonidas, they were bought by Hoyer in the 1960s. So, well, they've still got a link to a company that's active nowadays. And yeah, just nice piece. This one also rather rare, the Leonidas, you don't really find. Leonidas also made watches for the British military, the famous Leonidas or Leonidas ATP. And sorry that my pronunciation keeps changing, but it's a bit difficult with all different languages. Then next up we've got Onda, of which I have two. Both also have the markings as usual. This one obviously chrome has been worn a bit. This one is in all original superb condition with the original strap. The strap isn't in the best condition, but I prefer to keep it on just because it is original. One of these watches has the original marking on the strap, not this one. But yeah, this one really nice dial, and it's just special to find them all original, so I keep them. Then we've got the Pronto. They also made the DH watches. Nice piece, this thing. Record, of course, there's many Deutsches Heer watches of the Record. And yeah, I've got two Luftwaffe watches of them, which have a more angled caseback, because most casebacks of these are more flat. Then we've got Selza, which also looks like Seba a bit, but yeah, it's Selza. It's easier to spot on this right one. These ones are also rare, you don't really find them very often. They have a similar caseback to the Meuris watches, but yeah, that's it. Also, you can see they're shock resistant, which is already a bit special for well, military issue watches. Then next up we've got Siegerin, which is a German brand by Marc Favre. He also made watches for Kriegsmarine, also under the Siegerin name. These were likely distributed by Alpina. Inside also beats the Alpina movement. These also both have a nice chocolate dial, one a bit more chocolate than the other. It's a bit difficult to see in this light, but really nice. Next up, the Silvana, also very, very nice. And well, you might notice I say Z instead of S, like Silvana or Silvana, because that's how the Germans would say it. So midway this video, I realized maybe I should use a German pronunciation. Anyway, yeah, this one, really nice glossy dial. The crystal is a bit, well, has a few marks, but yeah, very nice piece, this one too. And yeah, it's a flat caseback, which is used for most of these. Most of these have a caliber, an AS 1130 inside. It's the classic Wehrmachtswerk, and well, it's Alphonse Schild's 1130. This one, the Syntakt, you recognize by the swan. This logo is both on the front and the caseback. I believe it's a swan, could be something else too. You've also got these for the Deutsches Heer, then Titus Geneve. Also very nice pieces, these. I really like the way they patinate. I've got another one too, but I think it's in some box that I forgot to include in here. Then Zentra, these ones are also one of my favorites. Zentra also made watches for Kriegsmarine, and they are pretty much the same except for the signature on the dial and well, the color of the dial, because Kriegsmarine are white dials. These are black. The nice thing is this is a black glossy dial, this is a matte black, and just the difference is remarkable. These are both very, very nice pieces in my opinion, nice size and just also rare. Well, all of these Luftwaffe watches with the D signature are rare. You won't really find them very often. So yeah, if you can find one in good condition for a good price, you should always get them, because this is after many years of collecting. These are my Luftwaffe. I'm also going to make a few other videos about a few other watches. Here are my Deutsches Heer watches ready, and I've got some DU Dutch military and DIH watches ready as well, which I'll get to in a moment. Well, just check out my other videos. If you like this, please consider subscribing, liking, or maybe sharing it with your friends. I don't normally make these videos, but well, I'm planning on making a virtual museum at some point, and a lot of people have been asking me to make to show my watches. So well, it takes a lot of time to prepare everything for this, and well, I hope you can learn a little bit from it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed.